Our cockboy Chibi was always LARPing as a member of the Japanese community in order to excuse his gunning lifestyle.
Majority of the comment section is actually pro-censorship, and there are even people within Japanese commenting and saying that the Chinese censorship is way better than the original anime's depiction of the characters.
He was not living in Japan, he is not Japanese, he does not speak Japanese, he does not read Japanese, but he kept pretending to be part of the Japanese anime community, not the English anime community, because he thought the Japanese were always against censorship and would never allow censorship, a purely Western invention, to ruin their culture.
And this is what's really concerning me, is that there is a lot of Japanese posters here in these comment section being very pro-Japanese censorship, pro-censorship of anime.
That was the excuse he was using for over a decade, so he can make it seem like jerking off to minors is perfectly normal and acceptable because it's part of the Japanese culture.
This is not like your typical, the West being pro-censorship, the typical COVID anime tourists that are pro-censorship of anime. This is the Japanese community members being happy about censorship of anime.
Well, not anymore, since even the Japanese don't like this bullshit. Even they are against it now because it makes them look bad.
This is extremely concerning. I'm not gonna lie, this actually blew me away when I read this, because when I saw this post in Japanese, usually I think, or I believed that, you know, the Japanese community would be like, you know, yeah, I don't want to see the work censored.
Thus, the last refuge of cockboy Chibi is now gone. He cannot claim censorship is an American thing only, and that pretending to be Japanese gives you immunity when you fap to the lolly of the season.
What's interesting about this individual is that they follow me, but they're pro-censorship. And I'm just like, wait a minute, whoa, back up here. You follow me that has been a massive advocate for anti-censorship and allowing freedom of expression within fictional content, but you follow me and you're pro-censorship? That's weird. That's kind of weird.
Even those who are following him don't believe this bullshit anymore. The walls close around Cockboy Chibi, and he has no wife or friends to help him out. This is the result of fapping to cartoons, calling it normal, and then mocking anyone who was warning you about it for over a decade.
And I thought I was going to see a lot of people being against the Chinese censorship, but in fact, I was greeted with people being very pro-censorship, and I'm floored.
Is he finally going to admit being wrong all along? Obviously not! Despite all the evidence, he still acts like all anime aimed at underage boys, and only boys, were always legal pornography from beginning to end.
Oda is quite the oppai guy. He loves his oppai. He likes his side oppai. He likes the frontal. He likes the downward. He is a big advocate for the oppai within his series. It's always been a thing, so he has always been someone that adds fan service and, you know, likes to sexualize his female characters within his story. It's nothing relatively brand new.
One Piece always had the same amount of fan service. It didn't have a lot less at first. What are you talking about? It was always heavily pornographic since the very beginning, and it was legally given to underage boys to fap all day.
What blows me away is that there's people that have now watched 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and this is like where they're upset. They draw the line here and say it shouldn't exist. And I'm like, wait a minute. How do you get through 1,000 episodes of One Piece and you hate the very content within it?
And that is perfectly normal because it's part of the Japanese culture. If you disagree with that, you are mentally sick because you can't tell fiction from reality. Said the guy who is a porno addict, thought he had a wife that loved him and friends who supported him, thus couldn't tell fiction from reality, and believes all anime aimed at underage boys, and only boys, are illegal pornography in Japan, so there is nothing strange if you live in America, are not Japanese, don't speak Japanese, don't write Japanese, and pretend you are part of the Japanese community.
It blows my mind that people are so against the left side here that has watched so much content of One Piece or read so much content of One Piece. One Piece is a shonen. At the end of the day, its demographic is meant for teenagers, boys. And so having people being upset with him having female characters showing things, it's just like, why? Why would anyone be upset about that? Because you're not technically a part of the demographic.
Yes, believe this fucking moron and his firm grasp on reality.
I mean, Nami has always been heavily fan service heavy. Like, she has. Like, anyone trying to advocate and say she isn't is straight up lying. Same with Robin, like Robin as well. It just, I don't know, seeing this kind of conversation around One Piece just blows me away.